Alright guys, welcome back. Dom here. We are day number 8 in this month of January. Now, today's is all about taking a break. I mean, like a full-on break. Not a Kit Kat break, a full-on break. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, a couple of days ago, we talked about a period of time where we said restore and reset. We took little short, tiny breaks in amongst the program, and it might have been a break away from the diet, for example, if that was a key part of your program, or a small break away from, doing some heavy lifting. And part of that also comes into the phrase, particularly in the training part of what we call periodization, where we're undulating periodization. We might have a straight line periodization, but regardless, we are going through periods of time in our work capacity and our efforts. Today is a little bit deeper than that. Today is actually to tell you it is okay to take a full-on break. I mean, like, walk away. Now, your break might come in the form of you've got a planned holiday away with the family. That's a good way. It's a good break. It's a break from everything. It might mean that you're going to go away for work, for example, and you're not going to have access to your regular gig. You're not going to have access to the strength training gym or MMA or BJJ that you normally go to, and you've got this dinky little hotel gym that's got 2-kilo dumbbells that you can stick in your pocket and not even realize that they're there. But a break is a break. A break is taking an adequate period of time, and adequate between you and I is different, away from your training. Now I'm going to give an example of what I mean by a break for me. For the last few years, up until hoorah pandemic time, we would go away at least once a year with the kids whilst they were younger to give them experience, and that experience came in the form of a cruise. So coming out of Sydney, we would fly to different destinations, we would take a cruise for a week or two, and that was typically our break. Now for me, I didn't take a break from my training. I didn't take a break necessarily away from eating. I don't do diets. That's just me personally. I don't do diets. I don't think that they're a good thing for me mentally, but I do focus on the food. Now, my break was this. When I went onto the cruise, my break away from my normal eating was I would eat the expensive stuff. I would try the caviar. I would have seafood every single night for dinner, which meant I would have a lighter meal at my dinner. Now, yes, it would also mean I would be able to have my sweets too, because I enjoyed them. Now, that's a break. That's a break for me, because at home, again, with 4 people in the house and 2 dogs and the price of seafood going through the freaking roof, we don't have seafood. We'll have some fillets of fish every now and then, but as a general rule, we don't. We, like most families, will be surviving on, I'm not going to say surviving, but we'll be relying upon the bulk, the 1 kilo packs of, beef and chicken and lamb and that type of stuff. So my break for me, diet-wise, if that's the way to say it, was I would have seafood every night. And if we were away for 2 weeks on the ship, I would make sure I would eat every damn thing that came out the sea. We would try it. I would also make sure that every night I would try a different dessert. Now, it was a break. During the day, we would go and we would have breakfast and lunch in the restaurant. We wouldn't buffet. We would not buffet. I could think of nothing worse than going and watching the family of elephants walk past with the 3rd heap pile plate. So because I would end up saying something. So we would end up going to breakfast in the restaurant, and I would have poached eggs on toast. And then for lunch, we would go have whatever the light version of lunch. If it was seafood, I'd be having seafood. It was my break. Now, my break away from my training, I couldn't lift heavy. They've got squat racks and stuff in there, but I got no one I could really call upon to come and chuck 180 kilos in the bar for a box squat. And also, it's not a smart thing to do when the boat is rocking like this. So my break from my training would be primarily then body weight. I'd find a part up in the deck. I'd take my anchor harness. For those of you who don't know what that is, basically it's a harness with a bungee cord. And I'd take my anchor harness with me. And people would walk past and go, what the fuck is that guy doing? I'd be bear crawling backwards and forwards across the deck. You know, and I would also, this is where me getting into my stuff with the ergs, I would also row. I would also row quite a fair bit. I would go down in the morning and I would do a row session, and in the afternoon I'd do a row session, and then I would walk. I would walk quite a fair bit. I walk quite a fair bit today. I probably average between 15 to 17,000 steps in a day. That's the nature of having 2 cattle dogs. But I would walk, and we would take the stairs. We would very rarely take the escalator to get anywhere fast. We would take the stairs, and it would almost be a race with the kids. As they got older, they got a little bit sick and tired of it, but we would be up and down the stairs. And our break would involve a different type of activity. It wasn't pina coladas on the beach, lay there all day like a beached whale and do nothing. So from me to you, it's a long way winded, but please take a break. Work out what that break is for you. If you need, for this guy up here, the space between the left and the right ear, if you need to do some form of activity every day, then do it. Structure it, plan it ahead, book a hotel that's got a decent gym, or as near a gym that you know you can do a drop into. And you know what? It costs you nothing to let the fingers do the walking, and meshes them ahead of time saying, hey, look, I'm coming in, I'm going to be there for a day or two. Have you got a complimentary pass that I could do, and I could share it with my friends anytime they come past? And you'll find most gyms with a good gym owner will let you do that. It won't cost you a cent if you're smart and you plan ahead, and maybe you give them a shout out to wherever you were, whether it's KL, somewhere else in Malaysia, somewhere in Indonesia, New Zealand, Alaska even, one of those trips we've done, then you shout them out. So take breaks, take clean breaks away. When you come back, you can always get back into it, because this thing that we're talking about doing, as we said, it is not a 7, it is not a 14, it is not 28 days. This is a long game. See you tomorrow.